Right, today we're going to part 2 of our study of the Sampasadaniya Sutta from the Digha Nikaya, D28. We continue with section 8. Now, just a quick recap. In this sutta is actually spoken mostly by Sāriputta. And this is a kind of like an offering to the Buddha. Sāriputta, as you know, is the Buddha's right-hand monk. He's called the general of the order, or general of the dharma, because of his great wisdom and his kindness, his compassion to the members of the sangha, especially. So here he's praising the Buddha. He's very happy to be part of the community, and he's happy that he's being taught by the Buddha. And so he's basically saying, "You're the best." He's telling the Buddha, "You're the best." And the Buddha asked him, "How do you know? Have you met all the Buddhas of the past? Are you going to meet the Buddhas of the future to know all this?" Then he says, he knows this to the drift of the Dhamma, because of the Dhamma. Basically, he's saying it is because he has received the Dhamma, he's awakened through knowing the Buddha, learning from the Buddha, and he's still learning. So to him, that is good enough, that the Buddha is the best teacher he has, and the best Buddha. In a sense, he's saying that there's only one Buddha, and we are celebrating that oneness. And he lists various teachings, various wonderful teachings which the Buddha has given and will continue to give. So now he talks about what are called the 7 noble individuals, section 8. Oh, by the way, just a memo. If you have not done so, please remember, especially at the end of this lesson, to download the latest version with some corrections in the footnotes to help you study better. This sutta is quite a difficult one. It's almost like Abhidhamma study. As you know, Sāriputta is famous for this kind of listing, very encyclopedic. Okay, what are the 7 noble individuals? Furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassable is the dharma that the Blessed One teaches. Now here, unsurpassable meaning the teaching is really profound. There's no better teaching. Right? And here it's concerning the designation of individuals, different kinds of practitioners, if you like. Bhante, there are these 7 individuals. Notice the Sāriputta addresses the Buddha saying Bhante. So it's kind of like summarizing everything, also for our benefit. So let's look at the 7 individuals. Here you are, further down. Right, we have one freed both ways, Ubato Bhagga Vimutta. And then number 2, the wisdom freed Pañña Vimutta. Notice the word Vimutta, it's the last word, it means freed. Okay? The body witness, Kaya Saki. Notice the word Saki there, in Sanskrit is Shakshi, and in Malay you have the word Saksi. Okay? But it's very close meaning. Number 4, the view attainer. Here, view means kind of vision, right view. View attainer, Ditthipata. Ditti, the view, Pata means obtain, gain. There's an extra P in the middle to ease, to help our pronunciation. Number 5 is the faith freed by faith, and it's Saddha Vimutta. Notice the word Vimutta again. The truth follower, Dhammanusari, Anusari follower, okay? Dhammanusari. And then you have the faith follower, Saddhanusari. With regards to the designation of individuals, Bhante, this is unsurpassable. So basically, Sāriputta is saying even this classification is unique. No one else has this kind of classification. All right, so here, briefly, simply, what are these 7? One freed both ways refer to the full-fledged arahat, like Sāriputta and Moggallana. They have deep meditation powers, can attain jhanas, all the form jhanas, formless jhanas. They have also wisdom. So they are free both ways, meaning the body is free to attain jhana, and the mind is free to attain awakening. So they are free both ways. Now, wisdom freed are those who practice mostly reflecting on impermanence, on vipassana, as we call it, and they attain freedom, arahathood that way. So they may not have psychic powers like the one freed both ways. The body witness is someone who has very deep meditation. Here, whenever you see the word body in this kind of context, it refers to personal experience in meditation. The meditation is touched with the body itself. Here, for example, take your breath, right? When you begin your meditation, it is a body of breath. Now, as you become more focused, the breath becomes more calm, becomes brighter. Then it becomes a body of mental state. It's a mental body, right? So this word kaya is a metaphorical term. So here, body witness is this person who has gone through very deep meditation, and he's attained kind of liberation through that way. Now, this āyatana, faith freed, there are the different kinds of path attainers. It could be arahats, stream non-returner, once returner, stream winner, and in the case of the āyatana, he attains it through wisdom. Faith freed, he understands the Four Noble Truths very well, but he has deep faith. Right? So then he goes on to attain the various stages of the path, especially it could be arahathood or non-returner or once returner. Now the last two are very important for us: truth follower, faith follower. This refers to the stream winner, and these two points or two categories are mentioned in the in Anicca Sutta, Anicca Chakku Sutta, for example. You have 10 suttas in that chapter, S25 in the Samyutta. You find this both this truth follower is someone who is a deep learner. He's very interested in the dhamma, so very wisdom-based, if you like. So he examines impermanence. How true is this, and so on. So he reflects in this way, and he goes on reflecting habitually, and he ends up as a stream winner in this life itself. If not at the end of life, certainly with the last breath, he dies a stream winner. So next life he'll be reborn as a stream winner with the right conditions to continue his practice. The faith follower is one who is not really keen on studying, so it's not very good intellectual things. So he's quite happy to accept impermanence. He says, well, I'm happy to accept impermanence. I can see it is true, it is real. So he reflects on impermanence in that way. Without a very deep study, he practices it. So and through faith, he gains stream winning. And as you know, at the most, it takes 7 more lives before someone becomes attain arahathood in the case of a stream winner. Right? So these are the 7 kinds of individuals who are on the path. All right. Now, next category that Sāriputta mentions are the various methods or various stages of striving, of practice. 7 awakening factors. Furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassables the dharma that the Blessed One teaches concerning striving. Right? Here, striving means putting an effort, meditating, and living a life that helps us to build up our mental cultivation, mental progress. Bhante, there are these 7 awakening factors. The awakening factors of mindfulness, bhassa. Now notice when, as a set, they are called bojjhaṅga, satta bojjhaṅga. But singly, the word sam is there, sati sambojjhaṅga. And then, so in other words, we begin meditation with mindfulness. And then we go on to investigate the states that arise as we meditate. The awakening factor of dhamma investigation. Dhamma here refers to mental states. Of course, it's mental states may arise as teachings that we know, for example. But so it's a broad term here. Dhamma vichaya. Vichaya means investigation, even can mean research, by the way. So Dhamma vichaya, sambojjhaṅga. The word sambojjhaṅga is used because we do this for the purpose of gaining the path. The awakening factor of effort or energy, virya, sambojjhaṅga. So here's where we put in effort, and through our mindfulness and investigation, effort also grows naturally. And when all this smoothly build up, there is number 4, the awakening factor of zest, joy, piti. Here is a special meditative joy, this great bliss, piti sambojjhaṅga. And this peace arises in us is so wonderfully, so completely, and the body settles down, very peaceful, tranquil and still. Body and mind are at peace. This is number 5, the awakening factor of tranquility, passaddhi sambojjhaṅga. 6, the awakening factor of concentration, samadhi. So when the body and mind are calm and still, then the mind is free from the body, begins to get more focus. Samadhi arises. Samadhi is a broad term for one-pointedness of the mind. The next step, of course, will be jhana, very deep, wonderful state of mind, free from the body. And number 7, the awakening factor of equanimity, upekkha sambojjhaṅga. So here the mind benefits from the samadhi, from dhyana, and then the mind emerges very peaceful, very calm, very settled. So these are the 7 awakening factors. With regards to striving, Bhante, this is unsurpassable. So in terms of meditation, no one else has come up with a better idea than this. Next, Sāriputta talks about different ways of progress, how practitioners progress. 10. Furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassable is the dharma that the Blessed One teaches concerning the ways of progress. Bhante, there are these 4 ways of progress. Notice here, of course, the Buddha knows all this. When Sāriputta says Bhante, it's actually referring to us, the listener, right? So remember, when you read suttas, you see all these words, we know who is being addressed, but at the same time, we're also the audience. We're also listening. We're also benefiting from this teaching. So in a sense, Sāriputta is talking to us also, to the Buddha. There are these 4 ways of progress. In other words, when we practice, for some of us, the progress is difficult. And with slow, direct knowing, the result, the wisdom arises quite slowly too. Notice the Pali word, dukkha paṭipadā, difficult progress. Paṭipadā is progress. And then danda vinya, right? So danda means slow. Okay? Abhinya, direct knowledge or higher knowledge. And here, the example is Sona Kolivisa. Sona Kolivisa, one of the elders, here has to try very hard in this practice, and the results quite slow. He was doing walking meditation. He was very determined. In fact, he went and walk up and down until his feet bled. Right? He was so determined. And then he was kind of overdoing it, and then the Buddha goes to him and tell him, middle way. You should do the middle way. And then he slows down a bit and he attains arahathood. Right. So his progress was difficult as well as the result, the direct knowing was slow. Number 2, difficult progress with quick direct knowing. Slow progress, but the result is fast. In other words, the practice is difficult, but the result is very quick. So, this is the case of Moggallana. I think it was within a week he got his arahathood, awakening. He had some difficulty at first, actually. He felt sleepy and groggy and tired. That was his difficult progress. And the Buddha appeared to him and taught him different methods, like cultivation of the perception of light and so on, and that helps him. Then you have the easy progress. Number 3, easy progress with slow direct knowing. The progress is easy, but the result comes slow. So here we have, of course, famously, we have Ananda. Ananda, his practice is easy progress. He became stream winner, but then he did not become Arahat while the Buddha was alive, because he was attached to the Buddha. He was thinking of the Buddha. He was aware of the Buddha, taking care of the Buddha. So it was like, he's like a bodhisattva, if you like. He's making this sacrifice, make sure the Buddha stay healthy and able to teach the Dhamma well. And he became Arahat after the Buddha passed away. So there is slow direct knowing in the case of Ananda. And number 4, easy progress with quick direct knowledge. So notice here the word for easy is sukha. Sukha means easy, comfortable. And then quick is kippa binya, quick direct knowledge. So here the example is Sāriputta himself. Sāriputta, quite fast, no? He got it in, I think he got awakening in 2 weeks. And with all the wisdom and so on. So this one is number 4. And Bhante, in the case of difficult progress, with slow direct knowing, this progress, Bhante, is said to be inferior due to both difficulty and slowness. And then further down. So there's a bit more information here. Bhante, in the case of difficult progress with quick direct knowledge, the progress, Bhante, is said to be inferior due to difficulty. Bhante, in the case of easy progress with slow direct knowing, the progress, Bhante, is said to be inferior due to slowness. Bhante, in the case of easy progress with direct knowing, the progress, Bhante, is said to be excellent due to both ease and speed. With regards to the ways of progress, Bhante, this is unsurpassable, right? So we're talking about ease and speed here. Now, next is about ways of speech, modes of speech, especially when we talk Dhamma, right? 11, furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassable is the Dharma that the Blessed One teaches concerning the proper modes of speech. Now, speech is very important in Buddhism, in the Dhamma, because we use it to transmit the Dhamma. Here, Bhante, one does not say anything involving false speech, nor that which is divisive, nor that which is slanderous, in other words, breaking up friendships and people, relationships between people, nor that which seeks or considers a victory born of haughtiness or arrogance. He speaks words ever wise, worth treasuring, timely. Right, basically, this is right speech. With regards to proper mode of speech, Bhante, this is unsurpassable. Right, so notice Sāriputta is mentioning the ideas here. Now, the Sāriputta goes on to talk about moral conduct. Furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassable is the Dharma that the Blessed One teaches concerning a person's proper moral conduct. Here, Bhante, one is truthful, has faith, not false. Here, false meaning honest, open, really willing to learn. Okay, further down, not battering or not fawning, not hinting for gains, not a cheat, not coveting gain with gain. Right. So here, the Buddha is reminding monks not to be nice and kind to people just for the sake of getting material benefits, basically. Guarded in his sense doors. The five senses are guarded, restrained, moderate in food, eating just enough because they are meditators. Consistent in deeds, here meaning keeping the precepts, basically, right? Devoted to wakefulness. The mind, because of good health and clarity of mind, this person is able to keep on practicing, studying, and so on. Going the right way, progressing properly, especially for a meditator. Mindful, skill in the good, of good conduct, resolute. So here refers to basically keeping the mind in place and knowing what's right, what's wrong, keeping the precepts, and determined to continue doing so. Sensible, meaning moderation in action, not greedy for sense pleasures, mindful, and prudent. Now, I find sometimes words do repeat themselves, like mindfulness is mentioned twice. Right? It is part of the oral traditions, and those words get repeated because they're important. All right, so this is basically reminding the monks how to keep up with their moral conduct. And then we come to the teachers, or how we learn to practice, basically. 13. Furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassable the dhamma that the Blessed One teaches concerning the modes of instructing. Bhante, there are these four modes of instructing. So here we're talking about the four kinds of saints. One, the stream winner. Bhante, the Blessed One, knows for himself other individuals through wise attention thus. This individual, practicing as instructed, having destroyed the three fetters, will become a stream winner, no longer bound for the lower world, sure of going over to self-awakening. So here, in other words, the Buddha is able to look at the person and say, okay, this person is ready to break the three fetters. In other words, to start reaching the path. For example, the Buddha spoke to Daniya, right? And the husband and wife, they became, and the two daughters became stream winners. And later on, the Daniya and the wife renounced the world, and their lives were saved because the river flooded. The river near their home actually flooded, and the whole area was covered with water. Now, the Buddha is able to know when a person is ready to be a once returner. Bhante, the Blessed One, knows for himself other individuals through wise attention. Thus, this individual, practicing as instructed, having destroyed the three fetters and diminished lust, hate, and delusion, will become a once returner, returning only once to this world to make an end of suffering. Right. So here, notice, in the case of stream winner, the stream winner destroys the first three fetters, right? Self-identity, view, doubt, and attachment to rituals and vows. And when this stream winner is able to overcome a bit more of the greed of lust, hate, and delusion, the three unwholesome roots, then he or she will become a once returner. One more life to go, and it becomes an arahant. All right, next, further down, we have the non-returner. Bhante, the Blessed One, knows for himself other individuals through wise attention. Thus, this individual, practicing as instructed, having totally destroyed the five lower fetters, will gain spontaneous rebirth in the pure abodes as a non-returner. And without ever returning from that world, will gain parinirvana there. Now, notice here that there are brackets in the pure abodes as a non-returner. So the sutta only mentions spontaneous birth. So it's understood that this refers to a non-returner, meaning spontaneous birth here means reborn like deva-like, not in a biological way, because this realm is beyond the sense world. It is form world, one of the higher form worlds. So it is said to be spontaneous birth, like the devas. So these are we're speaking of the non-returners who have overcome, of course, the three fetters already mentioned. And the fourth fetter is sensual lust, and then opposite of it is repulsion. Notice sensual lust and repulsion, they're actually opposite of each other. So in the case of the once returner, he has weakened these two. And when these two fetters are totally uprooted, no more feeling of sensual lust, because in the case of the non-returner, he has attained dhyana or jhana. So when he is able to attain jhana, he's no more attracted to physical joy and pleasure of the body, because he is able to enjoy this wonderful bliss of mind. That's how he's able to break all the five fetters. And then we have the arahat, number 4, the arahat. Bhante, the Blessed One, knows for himself other individuals through wise attention thus. This individual, practicing as instructed, will right here and now realize for himself through direct knowledge, attain and dwell in the freedom of mind and freedom of wisdom that are influx-free. Now notice here, freedom of mind, right? So here that means meditation. It goes very deep. It might even have psychic powers because of that. And is freed by wisdom. Ignorance is overcome. Influx free. The influx ignorance, becoming, that is existence, and of course a desire. Okay, so in the later period of the Buddha's time, they added the fourth influx, that is views. Okay, so the arahat is sometimes said to be the one who has destroyed the mental influxes. They're called influxes, inflow or influx, because through the senses, all these defilements arise. Through the influx, through the senses, we tend to get caught up with wanting this, wanting that, having views and ideas. So the arahat is free from all that. So these are the 4 kinds of saints: that stream winner, once returner, non-returner, and arahat. So the Buddha knows how to see the person, which level the person's ready to be trained. Next, the knowledge of others' salvation. Furthermore, Bhante, surpassable is the dhamma, unsurpassable is the dhamma that the Blessed One teaches concerning the knowledge of liberating others. But it's kind of similar to the previous one. Bhante, the Blessed One, knows for himself other individuals through wise attention. Thus, this individual, having destroyed the 3 fetters, will become a stream winner, no longer bound for the lower world, sure of going over to self-awakening. So this is a kind of just a knowledge, and the Buddha has this knowledge. And the second knowledge is he's able to see someone having destroyed the 3 fetters, diminished lust, hate, and delusion, will become a once returner. Returning only once to this will make an end of suffering. And then this individual, having totally destroyed the lower 5 mental fetters, will gain spontaneous rebirth in the pure abodes as a non-returner without ever returning from that world to gain parinibbana there. And then there is the arahat. Bhante, the Blessed One, knows for himself other individuals through wise attention. Thus, this individual, having right here and now realized for himself through direct knowledge, has personally experienced these things, attain and dwell in the freedom of mind, in the freedom by wisdom that are influx-free with the destruction of mental influxes. And with regards to the knowledge of liberating others, Bhante, this is unsurpassable. Then, okay, the next one is a bit technical, so we will go into this after the break. All right, this next section is a bit technical. It's almost like a legal document, lots of notes. As you know, the oral tradition, especially, is very systematic and complete, so that when we study it, we know what the Buddha is talking about. But it tends to be repetitive. So we'll read the main part in round brackets 1, and then I explain the rest in connection with that. Now here, notice the heading, Dogmas of Eternalism. So now the Sāriputta is telling us that the Buddha also knows how other people, other religions think, especially religions that talk about eternalism. Okay, so here 3 kinds of eternalist view, as I mentioned. They are more or less the same, in the sense that they believe that the self and the world are permanent, eternal, or that the self, the soul, is eternal, but the world will end in some way. Okay, of course, there is a world in which they exist, so that world will not end. So the self and the world kind of always go together. So they have this kind of idea of eternalism, living forever. So here the Buddha is telling us, how do they know these things? One possible explanation here. Of course, it can be just a view, but in some cases they are convinced that this could be the case. All right, so here the Buddha explains to us that these people who are convinced that there is such a thing as eternal life, that we go on living and we don't die, and the universe also keeps on regenerating and doesn't end, it's because they were able to meditate and recall past lives. Right? So this paragraph, brackets 1, tells us that, right? Let's start with 15. Furthermore, Bhante, unsurpassable is the dharma that the Blessed One teaches concerning the eternalist doctrines. Bhante, there are these 3 eternalist doctrines. It all depends on up to how many lives. So beginning with 100,000 past lives. Okay, so this person meditates, is able to recall those many lives. Here, Bhante, a certain recluse of Brahmin, by means of ardor, great effort, by means of effort, by means of devotion, heedfulness, by means of right attention, touches mental concentration. His mind having touched a samadhi, he recalls his manifold past existences, that is 1 birth, 2 birth, 3 birth, 4 birth, 4, 5 births, and so on, the thousands of births, and is able to recall the name, the clan, appearance, the kind of food, the kind of experience of joy and pain, and how their life ended. So this recall his past life. And then passing away from that state, I re-arose there. So he kind of remembers his past life and how he went through all this, again, different kinds of life, different kinds of joy and pain, and so on and so forth. Then he, further down, please, a bit more. Then he recalls the world rolled out. You remember the universe coming in and rolling in, and then, in other words, big crunch, and then expanding again. But he does not know about the future. He knows from the past, right? So from that knowledge, he says there is eternal life. So this person who lives up to 100,000 years, then in the 100,000 past lives, rather, then this next person is able to meditate and is able to recall many lives through many world cycles, 20 world cycles, right? So same thing, he goes through the same experience, recalling past lives and so on. And say, okay, I know this past lives, and so we can see that our life, the self and the world, that they are steady, they're eternal, like a mountain, right? So you can see this further down, 15.7. Go to 15.7, please, down. Yeah. Right, so it says, this self and the world are eternal, barren, and steadfast as a mountain peak, standing firm like a pillar. So the beings roam and wander through samsara. They die and then they rearise, they're reborn. But the self and the world remain the same. Right? So it's a wrong view, right? Now, that's the third person, he's able to meditate longer still, goes up to 40 world cycles, 40 eons. Right? So same thing, he experienced all these, notices all these rebirths and so on, and he thinks he can also know the future. He thinks, well, if this happened in the past, so the future also will be like that. So this is a third kind of eternalist view. So according to Sāriputta, these are all wrong views. In fact, these views are elaborated in the 62 wrong views in the Brahmajala Sutta, the first discourse of Tigha Nikaya. And the Buddha rejects all these ideas, right? And then now we've gone to the knowledge of death and rebirth of beings. Now we come closer to the Arahat knowledge, section 17, further down. Okay. So, okay, I have missed out 16. 16 is on recollection of past lives. So this is the Buddhist one. Okay, so this one is similar, except in the case of the Buddhist meditation, we look at these past lives and we say, okay, we know that there is rebirth. People are born and people pass away, beings are born and pass away, and they go through various levels of existences. And that's about it. You know, we don't make a big deal of it by saying, oh, you know, therefore life is eternal. We don't have that kind of view. We just say that's the way samsara is. Then, so this knowledge of recollection of past lives confirms or affirms the idea of rebirth. Now, the next knowledge, 17, is about karma. So this is the knowledge of the Arahat, by the way. So here, this meditator who's going to be an Arahat is able to go deep into meditation, and he looks back and he uses his mind to attain the knowledge of passing away and rearising beings. It's also called the divine eye, and he's able to use this deep mental faculty because of his jhana, and he sees how beings in the past are born and pass away. And 17.3 gives us some details. These beings who were endowed with evil conduct of body, of speech, and of mind, who reviled the noble ones, held wrong views, and undertook actions under the influence of wrong views, after death, when the body is broken up, have real reason in the plane of misery and evil destination, the lower realm in hell. So those who do bad deeds, they kind of reborn in suffering states. 17.4, those who do good deeds, good karma, the right views, and the reborn in happy states in the heavens. Right? So through the divine eye, through their ability to recall past lives, they know the nature of karma, in other words, in this case. So we have rebirth and karma. So these are the two kinds of knowledge that the Arahats is able to gain, right? And then there are various psychic powers. So here, the Buddha mentioned, or rather, Sāriputta mentions that there are two kinds. Right? One is noble, the other is ignoble. In other words, even someone who's not an Arahat or not a Buddhist, they meditate properly, they will get some of these powers. But in the case of the Buddhists, they gain it through proper practice, in the case of the Arahats. So they have all kinds of psychic powers here. They are Here, with mental fluxes means those who are not Buddhist, okay? They also gain, possible for them to gain it, but they can lose it very quickly because of their bad deeds. And in the case of the Arahat, he's able to recall a past life, for example, was able to use the psychic powers, for example, and then they're mentioned here, they can multiply themselves, they can appear or vanish, dematerialization, going to walls and ramparts, dive in and out of the earth as if it were water. He walks on water without sinking, as if it was earth. Sitting cross-legged, he flies through the air like a winged bird. With his hand, he touches and strokes even the sun and the moon, and so on. This is to show idea that the mind is so powerful that it's able to do all these things, basically. But this doesn't mean the person is awakened or it's got nothing to do with that. It's just an extra benefit of the Arahat who cultivates deep meditation, right? And now we come to the most difficult part here. That is with the various psychic powers. We go to 18.3, number further down, a bit more. Next one, 18.3 brackets 2. Okay. And what Bhante is a psychic power that is influx free without acquisition, which is called noble. Now, this is a special ability of the Arahats. It's quite a tricky kind of meditation, all kinds. So here, this Arahat, if he wants, he can say, let me dwell perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive. Something which is unpleasant, he looks at it not in that way, right? So here, in other words, let's say just a simple example. We notice somebody who is very nasty, right? This is repulsive. So what would he do? So this Arahat would cultivate loving kindness. That's quite simple enough. So he's going to use his loving kindness. He's not going to be affected by this negative person. So this is what's meant by the first one. Now B here, so this Arahat, if he wishes, he can say, let me dwell perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive. So here is the opposite. Something is pleasant, attractive even, but he sees the negative aspect of it, right? Okay, so here, maybe someone looks very, very nice and so on. In this case, he will reflect on impermanence. All these things will pass away. Someone looks young, good looking, but all these things can go away, and he just let it go. He can do it very naturally. So this is second ability. Okay. It's called a psychic power because he does this naturally and it's effective at once for the Arahat. And then at C, he says, let me dwell perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive and in the unrepulsive. So he uses one method for both. In this case, he's going to use the idea of loving kindness for both cases. For example, there are other methods, quite tricky. You can read the footnotes, a lot of details there. And then D, this Arahat can think, let me dwell perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive and the repulsive. So in both the pleasant and unpleasant, he reflects using the foul. In other words, here the impurities or even impermanence. It's up to him. So he can reflect both qualities at the same time if he wants. Then the last one, E, he can let go of both methods. It's not going to use both methods. He's just going to be calm and still, equanimity, equanimous. Just watch things as they arise. So this is the ability of the Arahat. They can easily manage their mind how they want to look at a pleasant or unpleasant situation. That's the meaning here, okay? So, of course, we can practice this on a simple level, if you like. Next, the Sāriputta goes on to talk about the Buddha himself. Okay. Section 19. Let's go further down. All right. So here, Gautama and the other Buddhas. Whatever, Bhante, that is possible for a clansman steep in faith to attain through initiative and effort, through personal strength on account of fortitude, through personal effort, through personal exertion, through personal endurance, all this the Blessed One has attained. Right? So here basically Sāriputta is reminding us, wow, the Buddha has really put in all the effort, 6 years of really difficult practice, asceticism, and then, yes, attain awakening. So, and Bhante, the Blessed One is not yoked to the indulgence of sensual pleasures, which is low, vulgar, worldly, ignoble, unprofitable, and is not yoked to the pursuit of self-mortification, painful, ignoble, unprofitable. So in other words, here the Sāriputta is reminding us the Buddha has given up the extremes of sensual pleasure and the extreme of torturing the body. And he does that how? 19.3, by attaining the 4 dhyanas, the higher mind, and through that he's able to free himself from suffering. So here, therefore, the Sāriputta says, Bhante, if I were asked thus, now also Sāriputta, were there in the past any other recluse or Brahmin more excellent in self-awakening than the Blessed One? Asked thus, Bhante, the answer would be no, right? So here, Sāriputta is saying, what I described here is because I know this, I would say there's no such person better than this Buddha in the past, nor will there be in the future any Buddha better than this. He's talking about the present, okay? And even now, there is no one equal to the Buddha, right? So this 19.5. So this is the great faith that Sāriputta shows. In a sense, it's quite uncharacteristic of Sāriputta. He's showing his faith, but the faith comes from wisdom. He's saying there is no other Buddha. This is the only one, right? So 19.6. Next step further down, 19.6. Bhante, if I were asked thus, but Venerable Sāriputta, why acknowledge one and not another? Right? Why just this one Buddha? Asked us, Bhante, the answer would be thus. Also, I've heard this before the Blessed One himself. I've received this teaching before the Blessed One himself. So this Sāriputta's rationale. He says, well, it is from this Buddha that I received the teaching. Yes, there are Buddhas in the past, there'll be Buddhas in the future, but it is from this Buddha I received the teaching. That is why this is special, right? So, and moreover, look at 19.8. Sāriputta says, it is impossible. It has been no occasion, it has not happened before that the two Arahat, fully self-awakened ones, would arise simultaneously in the one and same world system, right? There's only one Buddha. So this is that special one, all right? So his praise ends here, and the Venerable Udayi was listening, is so happy, and he says, how wonderful Bhante, how marvelous Bhante, is the Blessed One's fewness of desire, contentment, and austerity. And even though he's of such great power, such great might, he himself makes no display of them. And he says, if the wanderers of other sects were able to see even one such quality in themselves, they would surely proclaim it with a banner. And so this Udayi is very happy. And now we come to the conclusion. Next section, next page. And then the Blessed One. So okay, up to this point, even Udayi is listening, is very happy. So he also couldn't help saying, wow, this is really wonderful. And then Sāriputta has finished. Now the Buddha replies. So therefore, Sāriputta 21, you should repeat the Dhamma exposition frequently to the monks and the nuns. Notice nuns are mentioned. That means this sutta is quite late, and there are monks and nuns, to laymen followers and laymen laywomen followers, even though some foolish people may have doubt or uncertainty regarding the Tathagata. When they hear this Dhamma exposition, their doubt and all uncertainty regarding the Tathagata will be abandoned. This was how the Venerable Sāriputta proclaimed his faith in the Blessed One. Therefore, the name of this exposition is that which inspires faith, Sampasādanīya, right? So this last part, of course, is added in by the council elders, the sutta reciters, right? So the sutta ends here. All right, we managed to finish this just in time. We got about 5 minutes of questions, if you have any.
Thank you, Piya, for the teaching. Now we have our Q&A. Sister Aisin, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ratna. Thank you, Brother Piya.
Okay.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, you may type in the chat box or you can raise your question verbally. So, Brother Piya, at the moment, there is no question in the chat box.
Okay. This is our Chinese New Year holiday, so people still having holiday mood, huh? And some people are missing. I don't know, maybe it's possible that I may have to postpone the next lesson also because I'll be going for an eye operation next week. We'll see how. I hope my eye recovers quickly enough.
Not next week,
Yeah?
the week after that.
Oh, way after that. Okay. But then that will be in the same week as the class, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So for you all, please don't forget the new corrected revised sutta has been put out a while ago. So make sure you have this new copy. Some errors have been corrected in the notes. No correction in the suttas, but in the notes. We have a couple more minutes. Any questions? So in a sense, the sutta is quite straightforward. You see Sāriputta giving like a list, like a summary, almost like a syllabus of the Buddha's teachings, and then what makes the Buddha unique. So this is a reminder of the uniqueness of the Buddha. It's in terms of time, it's a late sutta, meaning it was taught near probably the last 10 years of the Buddha's ministry, around that time. Okay, so no questions, huh?
Yeah, I think there is no question, Brother Piya.
All right. Okay, so we can end here. It's nearly 9:30, 1 minute more. And let us now once again reflect on this first lesson of the dragon year. Remember, this idea of the dragon is important in both Chinese and Indian mythology. And the dragon is a kind of versatile being inhabiting the earth as well as the waters, as well as the skies, and all the 4 elements are represented in the dragon. So it's a reflection for us to understand that these 4 elements are found everywhere, and we should be versatile in our ways, especially when we practice, to learn to adjust ourselves. And the word naga for dragon is also named for the arahats. The arahats also are called naga, because there's a play on the word naga, one who does not do any wrong deeds, any bad deeds. Also, another word for a metaphorical word for the arahats. So once we have a new year, this is an opportunity for us to reflect how we can change ourselves to become, to practice the dhamma in better ways, putting in more time, studying things we have not studied before, or revising things we're not certain about. Because nowadays we have so many suttas. It's a matter of directing our mind to learning those things and see their connections. And when you see the connections, they will build up over the years. And as we age, our understanding also becomes clearer. And that's our advantage with impermanence. We grow with wisdom. So reflecting in that way, let us now remember these wonderful moments you have spent time here practicing the Dhamma by the power of all those good deeds you have done today. Send out your loving kindness first to yourself that you may be well and happy, to be able to practice the Dhamma and be kind to people you care for and who care for you. And send your loving kindness to others also who are important to you, that they be well and happy. And let us close by saluting the three jewels in whom we have taken refuge. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Have a very blessed new year.
Yes.
Today we forgot to take photo.
Yeah, take photo now. Let's take photo now.